What's up, everybody? It's your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. I really wanted to hit you guys today and talk about the 4 economies. Many people say there's 2 Americas, Erica. There's people who have and there's people who have not. And many people in the middle are like, what are y'all talking about? Because there's not 2, there's 4. Now, what do I mean by 4? Now, I'm basing some of this off of the book by Eugene Robinson, The Disintegration of Black America, because it's a great example of bigger America, right? And in the book, I'm gonna give you kind of short sample. It's like the stranded folks, the mainstream, the emerging, and the transcendent. Now, transcendent, we can apply this to everybody. Transcendent is the superstars. It is the LeVar Ball family. It is the Oprah Winfrey's, the basketball players, the football players, the celebrities that are making significantly millions. Johnny Depp, all these people. But they're still, you know, they can fall, but 9 times out of 10, they're living in a whole different stratosphere. We're talking about Saudi princes. We're talking about people who are in a stratosphere you'll never hit, okay? You or I, let's just be honest. All right, number 2 is emerging. What is emerging? Me and you can be a part of the emerging. Emerging is business owners. It is that little Korean shop owner that you see that makes a lot of cash. It is the plumber, the dentist, the eye doctor, all these people who are in this $100,000 to $250,000, sometimes $1 million. They may call them a blue collar millionaire. You know, they've got the business, they've got the truck's covered in decals. That kind of person is called an emergent, because it's really where the country, for a lot of people, has to go. Like, being your own business owner. And many people look down on it in America, but if you go to South America, you go to Asia, that is the way to be. You know, it is either being a salesman, because a salesman helps move the country, sells things, or being a business owner, because you are caring for your family and everybody in your kingdom, per se, however you want to look at it. And those people are emerging. Why? Because their life is going to be much different. I remember they were showing the thing in Mexico and in Colombia where this guy was saying, what happened when inflation hit? What did you guys do when, you know, it was like a crash, economic crash? The guy literally said, we went to the board, erased the number, and made a bigger number, right? So this food restaurant, they didn't go out of business. They just increased the prices. Still got paid, still got their money, and still kept open. Same thing happening all over America. Prices go up, they just raise the price on you. You want to keep raising taxes on business owners? They'll just keep shifting that price to you. So people don't realize that, and that's kind of funny to me, but that's all that's happening. That's why they're emerging. They'll keep going. Their kids will go to college and they'll care a little less about it. I mean, if you read the book Illusions About Entrepreneurship, the average entrepreneur is 44 to 48 years old guy. He's married, his wife works, and he's growing something low tech, maybe a medical supply company, maybe something in a warehouse, maybe selling things online, maybe flipping storage units or flipping a house slowly, 1 or 2 at a year, and still making a lot of money, okay? Then you have another one, and we call that the mainstream. Now, I'm gonna wiggle it for the mainstream. I'm gonna say about 40,000 to 60,000 is low mainstream. 60,000 to 100,000 is higher. Now, why do I have those 2 groups there? Because you have the husband and wife team, like half of America, that the whole household income is 50,000. So that means the wife's probably making 18 and he's making 32. Not a lot, but those people are the main people that buy cars, get credit cards, and go on trips, because they just don't know better, okay? And then you have the 60 to 100,000 where they, you know, maybe the man's in tech, maybe he's an engineer, and the wife stays home, or maybe it's 2 people who make, you know, 60K a year. Sorry, my pool's making noise. 60K a year and kind of living it up, right? But not a lot. I have several clients who wife makes 80, husband makes 100,000. But guess what? At the end of the day, they still have to do math just like you and I. Because at some point, the wife is going to want to go home. They make higher income. She assumes that that shouldn't be a problem. But they have to have investments. And that's usually what sparks their interest in investing and actually pushes them more to the emergent category, right? And then the bottom is the stranded. Now, what do I mean by the stranded? In the book, Eugene Robinson calls them the abandoned. And I call it the stranded. Because sometimes they're working. They're working at Papa John's. They're working at Domino's. They're working at Best Buy. They're working a job, but they're stuck in this $10 to $15 an hour category. And without marriage to help pull them up, which you see in the country, 2 people are married, 2 paychecks can kind of help bump them up into the middle. But with no marriage, just a woman or just a guy, they're coasting. They're like barely making it, or having a roommate, or having to rent out rooms, that kind of thing. And I call it stranded because they don't have an incentive to get out of it, or they're stuck there. I mean, a lot of people who are felons, ex-felons, you know, they did something when they were 18, and every single job application asks that. So unless they're working at Jiffy Lube or Subway or somewhere where they have to work, or a construction site where they're where they're kind of picking up trash, they kind of get stuck in that under 30,000 a year place, which is tough. And a lot of people are saying, well, Erica, I live in a small town. There's no Uber and Lyft and other things to do. Well, that's when you have to get creative. You either sell things online or sell junk or haul junk or clean up for people. It's just, your choices are where you are. So a lot of times people are saying, why are people running to Texas? Why are they running to Florida? Why are they running to the Carolinas? They're running for opportunity and lower taxes and lower cost. Now, at the same time, these same people are going to bring their shitty voting with them and probably change these areas in a couple years. But at the same time, they're going because I've met people who said, man, when I lived in New York, there was never any time off. It was like I had to hustle and hustle. Me and my wife had to hustle and hustle, and I just got tired. So we came to Texas. She stays home with the baby, and I'm able to work. And we're able to live more of a realistic life. See, what these people don't realize is not that it's Texas, it's not that it's North Carolina, it's not that it's cheaper cost of living, it's their pay grade. They don't make enough to be considered middle. And they don't have investments. And so at the end of the day, there's 6% of people who make over 100,000 a year that have no savings. Why is that? Because they're lifestyle creeps, or they live in an expensive city. At the end of the day, you have to start focusing on investing. And these four economies, as the recession deepens, you'll see. Now, why do I also call it the stranded? The stranded is because the people in that category, when the economy hits, the first laid off. They feel like they're living in a third world country. They're living in a poor neighborhood, rougher crime, cars always breaking down, payday loans, rough living, going to the emergency room instead of being able to go to the doctor throughout the year. You know, there's just something about that area. Unless you get a certificate or an opportunity or a leg up, you kind of get stranded there. There's some people when I meet in their mid-30s, they're like, Erica, I keep working on these jobs. I have to get out. They know if you're 35 to 55 and you don't make, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're living very roughly, you will have a very bad retirement. That's just the truth. You'll have a very rough, bad retirement. So in that area, they at least feel that sense of urgency. But the key here to any of these groups is investment and making more money and applying for jobs you don't think you're qualified for. Because there's a lot of companies, they're basing it off personality. Can we work with this person? Can we train this person? And people have to be willing to be retrained. A lot of times when you talk to people and they say, well, you knew the factory was leaving. Why don't you go be a truck driver? Why don't you go do this? Why don't you go that? And their face is like, how dare you ask me to do some change? Erica, I don't want to change. And unfortunately, that's a lot of Americans. A lot of Americans are complaining about immigrants coming here, but the immigrants come and they take the jobs they can, or they get certificates and they go get better jobs, and they invest. They buy that little corner market in your neighborhood that you keep looking at and don't want to stop for gas at. They buy in neighborhoods the little rundown houses for $13,000 in Jacksonville, fix them up and run them out. They do those things. So again, if immigrants are coming here and they're 2 times likely to be a millionaire than the average native born American, shouldn't we be looking to them and seeing what they're doing? Many people say, well, Erica, they work together, they live in a house 10 people at a time. I'm not living in a house with 10 people. Of course you're not going to live in a house with 10 people. Because not everybody there is going to be in the same hustle, the immigrant hustle, that, you know, that's needed to move a group of people that way. So, look, just want to do this one. I didn't want to be too long, but there are four economies. So many people say, it's a two Americas. And people in the middle are like, I'm still going on vacation. I'm still eating out with friends. I'm still eating sushi downtown Austin. What are you talking about? And then there's some people that's all they do. 7 days a week is work. So, two different Americas, but more like four. So everybody, this is Erica, Classy Climb Blog. Later.